always wanted to try and express how much I love the mountains. And really, photography, I found, is the way for me to do it.
Hello and welcome to Let's Create, the photography show. Thank you for joining us tonight with Nick Livesey. This is Let's Create, the photography show. I'm trying to be all professional. I'm failing, but I'm not arsed. At the end of the day, I'm here with a gent and we're going to have a good chat and a good laugh. I hope. I don't know. Who knows what could happen here? So, hello, Nick, and welcome. Happy New Year.
And to you. It's lovely to sort of virtually be in your company.
I know.
Because we've only met briefly once, haven't we?
You told me, fuck off. Yeah.
I didn't know who you were at the time. You know, I just thought you were someone asking for a soya latte.
Oh, God. That'd be rough hot stomach, one of them. Oh, no. No, I'm all joking here. We went up with David to Cafe Shabod and I was proper nervous at meeting Nick because, well, as you do, you know, mountain man, amazing photographer. The book's lit up for the, look at that.
Oh, that's nice.
If you're watching black and white or you're listening to the podcast, I've got Nick's book here with me, photographing Snowdonia mountains. Now, I've looked through this quite a bit, Nick, and I'm still no further on because for me, this is all about going and seeing and being there. It's fantastic to read it from cover to cover, but I feel a little bit like I need to get there. I've been talking about the Lake District and a bit of a traitor, but do you know what? Snowdonia is just beckoning me. So one day I hope me and thee can do a bit of walking.
Well, we will do. There's no doubt about it, and I'm very keen to do that.
Yeah.
And we'll have none of you weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. You're coming up something big with us.
Oh, God.
You're being safe, fans. You've got nothing to worry about. I mean, when you're going out with David Griffiths and all that lot, I'm not surprised you're bloody fearing for your flipping life.
Oh, to give David his due when he took me to Sithee and up. Oh, I can't even remember the name of the place. It's in the shadow of Snowdon. Oh,
you went up to Bulk-Cwm on the way to Aran.
Aran, yes, that's right. Amazing. I didn't even get 3/4 way up. Oh, that's steep. That's a big bugger, that. It was just amazing for being in amongst it. But yeah, David stayed with me and he made me some noodles. So he looked after me.
He's a lovely chap, he is. He's a great lad, David.
Yeah, we got soaked as well, which didn't bother me at all. Yeah. So, for it off with a quick question. If you was going to turn my pants brown, where would you take me then, Nick?
I'd probably just take you up Shabod, you know.
Oh.
You know, most people would say, I'll take you up Crib Goch.
Yeah.
But if you take somebody up Crib Goch and they're having a bad time, it becomes quite a dangerous place to be.
Yes.
And, you know, it would almost be like an ego trip. I'm all right up here. What's the matter with you? So I would take anybody up Shabod because it's as spectacular as you want it to be, but it's not committing. It's really safe.
Right.
And anything you don't like, you can just walk round it. So it's perfect. And I'm quite happy to take kids up it, taking lots of little ones up there.
I always thought that it was quite exposed and quite a steep height, that.
No, it's not really.
No. Wonderful. Oof, that'd be some achievement for me. See, I kept looking at Devil's Kitchen and that route up onto Castle, is it? No, Castle in the Wind.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't take you up that way because you have to go up onto Glydavour first. Oh. And you have to go up these horrible screes, which aren't very pleasant. There's nicer ways up onto Castell Gwent.
Is there? Right. Yeah. There's something about that place that, of course, it's like every place in the mountain ranges. They're just incredible. But that one seems to, especially the picture you took, like the claw, the rocks that are coming out, and just what a view. And I don't even think about it in photography terms, just to be there and see that. It's a bit special.
Well, when you're up on there, when you're up on the Clitheroe, you're looking at a scene really that's not changed since before Jesus, you know. And Castell Gwynnt in particular is probably the most iconic piece of rock architecture
Yes.
in Britain, I would say.
Yes.
It's Gothic.
Yeah. Me and Mikey were talking before about historic places in Eskdale in the Lake District, and we mentioned about Snowdonia. And he's talking about looking down a different route with his photography, looking more historic. Is that something that I know you're deep into your geology, but in history terms with photography, have you ever thought about doing a project like that?
Yeah, but the thing about Snowdonia is the history, the folklore, the industrial heritage, the topography and geology, it's inextricably linked.
Yes.
You can't separate it.
Yeah.
You know, in places like the Lake District or parts of Scotland, they're very much separate entities, but they're so much part of the Welsh identity and psyche. It's all rolled into one, and that's what makes Snowdonia such a rich arena of study and, you know, a place to go and really immerse yourself because it's multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous place.
Yeah.
But there's also all different ways you could go about the history. If you were going to have a project photographically, you could do the old drovers' roads.
Right.
Obviously, you could do the slate.
Yes.
And that's not just in Norwich. There's Glenhronwy across the way.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Moel Tryfan and Nanlle.
Yeah.
Tanagryshai and, you know, Blaen y Festiniog. It's not just in Norwich.
Festiniog. I remember going there, a while ago, and all that valley is spectacular. Scenes and views are just, and you can see that it's a tough place up in Festiniog. Yeah, I really feel for a lot of these towns like that where they've been booming. You know, you could tell that this place was heavily populated, and now kind of, sadly, correct me if I'm wrong, but a little bit forgotten.
A little bit. I mean, Blaenau is sort of being regenerated a little bit. It's a lot better than it was. But poor old Blaenau's got an exclusion zone around it, which keeps it out of the national park. Blaen y Festiniog, it's like a big hole in the middle of Snowdonia National Park. It's encircled by it.
Wow.
And that was because it was such a thriving industrial area.
Yeah.
You couldn't put it in a national park because that would mean they wouldn't be able to do anything there.
Yeah.
Now, what you'll notice is that the Norwich quarries, they're outside the national park.
Got you.
Yeah. But the National Park Authority won't even let you paint your house a funny colour.
Oh, it's bonkers, isn't it? Yeah, I can understand that though, but where it suits, isn't it, for the authorities, you know, the industry. Anyway, we won't get into that. Well, I don't know how you coping with lockdown, Nick. Your last video was superb, by the way.
Oh, that snowy one.
Yeah, was that not fair? That's on the outside the front door, though, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. You know, it's half an hour to walk into the Gwydir Forest from here. I see it from outside my window. Just the other side of my valley, basically.
Yeah, good on you. Brilliant, that video. But I have to say, all of them are. There's not many you've put out where I can't say wow, and then I just feel like quitting vlogging.
Well, I'm not really vlogging, am I?
No, they're like movies. They're like little films.
Daft little films. And what I want to try and do, I suppose, and it's been unconscious, but I want to encapsulate everything into 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waffle on. I don't want to stand behind a tripod talking about photography because there's so many people doing it.
Yes.
The world doesn't need another one.
No.
So I just want to tell little stories about my life here.
Yeah, I find myself being in that situation where I'm talking about photography and it's bollocks.
Well, there's nothing to say.
There's not.
It's a box with a hole in it that lets light in.
Lighting, yes.
And that's the beginning and the end of it, really.
Yes, my friend Stephen McNally always said that to me. He shoots a lot of pinhole camera stuff. And he just said, just keep being yourself and having a laugh. But along the way, I'm influenced by likes of yourself. and other photographers and people who make videos, not just vlogs, but emotion and story is a big thing. And I think that's so deep within what you do. That's why I connect to it straight away. I'm there, you know, because of that emotion. If that's not there, it's a tough watch. And I think it's encapsulated. It really grabs me what you're doing. What's your plans for? Have you got any videos up and coming, Nick?
No, I just, when the mood takes me
Yeah.
and when the weather allows. And
I love that.
To be honest, it's just really, the last few ones have just become a vehicle for music.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to talk to you about that as well, because the orchestration, it's a VSTI, that, isn't it? That you're doing that with.
I've got various plugins. Most of them are from Spitfire Audio.
Right.
And they've all sampled orchestras quite, extensively. And
Yeah.
the sounds you're getting these days are incredible. You still got to play them in. You still got to write and arrange these things.
Yes, yes.
The sounds are unbelievable.
That's the wife's Hammond organ SK1 there. And she plays a lot, but when I have your videos on, I have them on big telly, and she's like, "Oh, listen to the strings there." And I was like, "I'll ask him." Spitfire, right?
Spitfire Audio.
Wonderful, wonderful sounds, because we did a spell of making our own stuff. I'm not as prolific as you. I'm a bit of a prog head. I quite like psychedelia and ambient music, which isn't hard to do. Let's face it. It's just noodling and making layered sounds, which I love. I'm not
get the arpeggiator going.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've had back ripped out of me, haven't I, for Osric Tentacles, and you'll know who they are, though, won't you?
Certainly, yeah.
You know, bands like Porcupine Tree. I mentioned Magma last night, and they were like, "Who?" A Christian Vander on drums, and no. So, do you know a bit of Magma yourself? Like,
I don't actually, but you did mention Gong.
Yes, Gong.
But
yeah.
The kind of prog I never really got into prog. I was more of a hippie back in the day.
Yeah.
But stuff that was sort of on the fringes of prog, like the Canterbury scene, Soft Machine, and Caravan, and that kind of thing.
Caravan. Oh, wonderful.
Lambda Graham Pink.
Yeah, just fantastic. Oh God, I forgot the name now. Barley. John Barley Corn. No, it's gone. Name's gone. I think that was a Caravan one. We'll cut that. My memory's shot. It's been locked in this little room. How's it going with the refurbish? Because you moved upstairs, haven't you?
I've moved my office upstairs, yeah.
Yeah.
And because we were getting the central heating put in.
Yeah.
Now, this is a 250, 300-year-old cottage.
Wow.
The walls are 2 foot thick.
Yeah.
And it gets bloody cold. It's north facing.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise how cold I was getting until they got the heating in. And it's amazing now. I'm not having to go to bed with socks on my hands and, you know.
See, I grew up with that.
Snot flipping stuff
frozen
to me flipping moustache. But it's the price you pay for living in a wonderful place.
It is. It
Are we
is
the hardy
indeed.
bunch, us Northerners?
We are. Well,
I
I
was
was on
originally from Manchester, you know.
Yeah, you're not far from me, I don't think, 20 mile away. But I remember waking up and pillars were like cardboard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, no central, one single pane of glass, and up window ledge where all water, condensation had run down, it'd freeze.
Yeah.
And you could pick icicles off window ledge in the morning and sucking on them.
Yeah. My problem was I used to be into licking windows and my tongue would stick to it. But you said stiff pillars. Stiff pillars are the only stiff thing in my bedroom these days.
Oh, well. Oh, no. There's no wrong with that, you know. Especially not. It's overrated.
It's the passage of time. It's the journey through life, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
a time for everything.
There is indeed, and I'm still trying to stay young. I'm either got kilo over me or live to 120.
Yeah, I've got a feeling I'll live really a long age, an old age. I'm not planning to. I shouldn't do, but it'd be just my bloody luck to be on my own and nobody to carry me up to Shabod in my ashes in my little box.
Oh no, I'll make sure of that.
How old are you now, Mali?
47.
I'm 47.
We're babbies.
Yeah.
We've only just started.
It's all relative, you know.
Yes, I don't know about yourself, but this feels to me like this is like day one. the 40s were at first a bit dodgy. Hit 40 and there's all this psychology behind it. And as I'm closing in on 50, I'm actually starting to feel like I'm starting again. Like I can't explain it any other way than it's like a teenager with a brain.
Well, that sounds really positive. I mean, I feel like I'm running out of time.
A little
And
bit.
There's so much I want to do. There's so
Yes.
much I want to learn about.
Yes.
There's too much to know about in this incredible world we live in.
Yeah, it is incredible. Exactly.
You know, the natural world alone would take several
We're lucky,
lifetimes
aren't we, for have this time? Yeah,
Yeah.
the natural learner world alone, like you say, you could investigate one woodland for the rest of your life.
You could.
You know.
And once you've got past taking photographs
Yeah.
and pulling what hair out you've got left because there's no mist, because everybody knows you can only take photos of trees in mist.
Bollocks, but yeah.
Once you've done all that, you can start getting into the botany and the arboreal stuff, you know. And
Yes. Yes,
because it's
indeed.
a miracle we're here.
Yeah, it is.
And all
Just
this stuff
chance.
around us is a miracle. And I'm not religious at all.
No, me
But
neither.
I can see how incredible it is. And that's what my photography is about. It's being immersed in landscape and thinking, good grief, I've got to convey this, not to other photographers, but to people on the council estate where I grew up.
Yes.
And say, come on, lads.
Yeah,
Stop
look at
taking the
this.
methadone and get up here and have a bit of this.
That's where we came from. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it's even more so these days because I think people are so entrenched in money and commerciality and bloody apps and everything is just pulling people inward instead of shoving people out into the, you know, the woodland. Like we spent a lot of time sat around a fire. I don't know about yourself, where you were around Manchester, but all right, we might not have been up to some good sometimes, but pretty much a lot of my youth was spent outside because we could get away from the authorities and that was the love of nature, you know, knee deep in ferns with your mates and just few ciders, and next thing you know, it grabs you. And I don't think youth today are doing enough of that.
Well, they're not, because these devices that we've all become addicted to, I mean, they suck you in, don't you? We're running away from nature and the very nature of what we are as things, as objects, as beings, as animals.
Yeah, carbon.
I just got to clear this up, mind. I left Manchester when I was 4. I moved to Peterborough.
Oh, yes, you did. That's right.
We lived near a country park called Ferry Meadows.
Right.
And me and my mates were always in there, swimming in the lakes, camping, riding our bikes.
Yeah.
And you become an outdoors enthusiast without even realising it, because you don't need that label. It's just a way of life, you know.
Bike's a big one. Tomahawk. Did you have a tomahawk or a chopper?
I didn't have either, but I did have a budgie, which is the smaller one.
Yeah. Budgie.
And I had a boxer.
Yeah.
And I had a
grifter. I had a grifter. Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story about a grifter. I'd bought a second-hand one and off my mate, and we went up to Dam where I lived. And tyres blown out, and being an idiot as you was back then, I dumped this bike at bushes. And I left it there and I come home any road. We went back next day and I was on back pegs. Do you remember pegs? I was up back of someone else's grifter. This lad rides past on my grifter. And I went, oi, that's my bike. And he jumped off and run off. And when I went over and picked it up, he'd fixed me brakes and he'd fixed me back tyre. He put a new inner tube on it. And I chased after him and he kept running. And I run after this lad for a mile and I couldn't catch him. And he must have thought, this lad's got beat me up. And I wanted to say thank you. You fixed my bike. I dumped that and you fixed it. And, there's things happen, don't they? But yeah.
Can you remember on the grifter mudguards, there was like a piece of plastic on the end and you'd fold it underneath your tyre.
Yeah.
Underneath, and it'd make like a revving sound.
Yeah.
And then it'd burn.
Yeah.
It'd melt.
Yeah.
Then you'd get a clothes peg with some playing cards on your back wheel.
Oh, well, that's a bit posh.
Yeah, we used to flip and make our own fun then, didn't we?
Oh, definitely. Going over angle bars every week.
Yeah, smashing your face in. Yeah.
I was big into my BMXing, and we used to go to a track, Three Sisters, it was called, in Wigan. And I was forever coming off. but I still got up and had a go. And I think that's the thing, isn't it, Nick? Although I'm terrified of heights, I'm actually quite excited off what you've said about taking me up there. And now you've said, oh no, you take kids up there and stuff. This is the thing. You build it up in your mind. And so what?
You do.
So get back to a question. I've got loads of questions, fan. I don't want to make this just like where I'm in on dating. I want us for just have a laugh as well. But it is tough on Zoom, ladies and gentlemen. When you're in person, I'm a very huggy kind of guy, me. And when you're in person, it's dead easy for just like, there's a bit of an angst in there on this.
I keep forgetting we're doing it. Like
well, that's good.
Then I'm remembering and thinking, oh God, it's a bit strange, isn't it? I want to flick a bogey at him, but
it is. It is exactly that. So, me other question. I've got loads of them here. Look at the ears. I've got loads. I know, but I'm not going to bombard you that much. What are you supping, any road? I'm getting
I've got a nice bottle of Merlot to start with.
Lovely. Well, hopefully I won't keep you too long, but as long as you tell me to go away when you know.
Well, when I start getting incoherent, just turn me off. You know those shepherd's crooks.
But yes, expressions,
allowing it to breathe and allowing the viewer to sort of enjoy it in their own way, rather than being too prescriptive about how you want them to view or hear your particular work.
Yeah, that's great to hear from yourself.
Give them room to interpret it.
Yeah, and because if you don't follow those rules, though, I feel you're a little bit you're not a photographer. But we're back to Hendrix. A guitarist who's a purist probably would look at Hendrix and go, but Hendrix ripped the rule books up and made his own, and I love that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a purist and I'm a massive music snob. But there's more to music than just technique.
Yeah.
The whole point of music or any art is emotion and conveying emotion.
Yeah.
And Jimi Hendrix didn't give a shit what anybody
thought. No,
he was too busy enjoying himself.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
And it's a bit like that in photography.
Fun.
It's like there's all these arbiters of what's right or wrong.
Yeah.
But really, it's just a big online photography club. So we all get into this really closed
thing. You can get lost.
Yeah, you can, and there's a world out there.
Yeah,
to enjoy.
Do you know boom? I've been thinking a lot about what you've just said there. That we can get too wrapped up in these. I love community, but not closed door. And it's so huge. It's endless. I think someone said, I can't remember who it was, that it's saturated, and I went, no, it's not. I don't think there's saturation point. I think it's endless. And it's who you bring in through those doors. It's who you go out the door to see.
Yeah.
Beyond this circle, going out beyond that, maybe involving music with photography, because then you're talking then about making something beyond what is just a photograph. You're talking about creating a kind of a more rounded creative thing, which engages with other people who've got nothing to do with photography. Yeah. I'm fascinated by a movie production where it's they always say the photo producer or the director of photography, and that's always got me, because I think, wow, there's a guy there who's arranging composition and thinking from the director's sketches and scenes and how to turn that into a reality. And I'll mention Neil Burnell. I know we're talking about circles, but Neil to me represents that area of film, that it's beyond just photography and that circle. And I don't know anything deeply about him. I spoke to him a little bit, and I wanted to get him on as a guest, but I am going to look into his work more, because it's quite superficial photography, isn't it? It's so quick and easy to just look at a picture and discard and move on. But there's a person there, and it's quite deep, and I want to get more fascinated in that. And intellectually, I struggle with that. So that's why you're on today, because intellectually, I think you're To me, anyway, it's like I see a spirit round you. I see you kind of glowing bigger than a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? I'm going a bit mystic Meg here, but
I'm trying to hang in there. Don't worry.
I do see that in you, that it, like I mentioned about emotion and expression. And we could just ask these basic questions, but they are quite superficial. And I think we've touched on something here where it's very important that we do get lost in our creativity and not think about the rules, like a child playing.
That's really good playing, because when I go out in the mountains, and I've said this to my friends, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm playing.
Yeah.
There's no point to it.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a point to anything, does there?
No. And we're fighting with that. I fight with that. Like there is a point.
Well, the societal expectations, we've
Yeah.
all been conned.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, since the Industrial Revolution and probably before, we've all been conned into this thing, and now we're disappearing up our own arseholes because we've destroyed everything. But it's all a big con. You know, if the people turn around to each other and said, you know what, I don't fancy this anymore. Let's help each other out. You've got some carrots, I've got a pig.
Yeah, exactly.
Very idealistic, you know. But
yeah.
Until we decide that we want to live a different way, which isn't about consuming stuff.
Yes, it's about
creating. Carry on as we are, But it's all a big con. It's all a big illusion. Societies and empires have been built, they've thrived and they've fallen, and this what's happening to this one now. Yeah. It's not particularly sad, it's just the way of things.
It is the way of things.
In that way, and I've thought this since I was a small boy.
Right.
So I've never thought that I really needed to, you know, do what society wants me to do. Because I'm here once. As long as I don't shit on anyone or hurt people to the best of my ability, I don't see why I should do anything I don't want to do.
See,
I want to do what I want to do because this is my time.
I completely agree with that, and you've made it sound. You've done it, but you've made it sound quite simple, and it is quite simple. But making that leap, I'm really struggling making that leap.
Have you got kids now?
I have 2 little ones, yes.
Well, that really does complicate things, doesn't it? Because really your job is to be there for them now.
Yes.
Well, my kids are like 29 and 30.
Yeah.
You know, so they're all grown adults. They don't need me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 9 and 7, man. Wonderful time. Oh, the little voices and just the way they are. And they're massively getting into music. We've just been talking before I come on about my little and was saying, oh, but I want to sing. And it's like, but you need to play the piano as well. You need to learn what the notes are. So, and I also said, you know, you need to go and look at Bruce Forsyth because he didn't just play and sing; he could dance as well. I'm joking, but you know what I mean. I said, why not? Or the older ways where you go onto the stage and you not only could you sing, dance, you could talk, you could speak to anyone the Queen, doesn't matter, and just be you. And be you, but have expressed that talent, you know. I'm trying to tell that to a 9-year-old.
Well, they're not going to get it in this generation because back then there was no really artifice or anywhere to hide. If you didn't have the talent, if you hadn't learned your craft, you wouldn't get anywhere.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that. You just wouldn't get the work.
Yeah, I feel like that now. I'm getting exposed as a talentless bastard, but.
I think you're incredibly talented.
Well, that's kind. I wasn't fishing.
Not least as being one of the most lovely men around and genuine and authentic and totally free of bullshit. And that's so refreshing.
We're going to stop this now because that that's rounded up there. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was Nick Livesey. You know, seriously.
That's why everyone likes you, Mali.
Too kind.
You're warm. You're a warm man. You know, you've got no side to you.
It's a fight, though, isn't it? It is a fight.
Because none of us are perfect, are we? By a long shot. But
no, my shit stinks.
It's not a competition, but I reckon I could give you a run for your money.
Moving on. I'm going to move on. I don't know who's listening. Tough. Tech is what we are. That's the way I say, and it always will be like that with me. So if you want to unsubscribe, that's fine. I understand, but at the end of the day, stick with us because this man is super talented. And yes, we're blowing smoke up each other's ass, but I can't take compliments like that off you. Seriously, honestly, just I don't know what you called that video. The plinths in the quarry, where there was those trees growing out, and
Oh yeah, what a place!
oh my God,
What a place!
now that
It's
was near
incredible.
Norwich, wasn't it?
The other side of the valley, the other side of Llanberis.
It was like something. I can't tell you how. I got quite emotional when I seen that the whole video, but that place where you was and just the way you stood there at the end and the drone come back, but those plinths with the trees growing out was missed. That's just incredible.
It's bonkers. I'd only seen a couple of other people take that photograph.
Right.
And to be fair, there's only one photograph there to be taken.
Right.
It's not like you can move around.
No.
You've got about 2 or 3 foot and then you're falling a long way.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is a one-shot deal, that particular hole, which is called The Land That God Forgot.
That's it. Yeah. How could I forget that? Yeah, I'm terrible at remembering.
God forgot. Also, I mean, the more prosaic name is like Film Set Quarry.
Yes, film set
Quarry as well.
Yeah.
But it's incredible.
Yeah.
That time of year with the birches glowing with that beautiful colour, you know. Looking straight down the pass. Magic place.
I was speechless after I'd watched that. I genuinely have watched it a few times. I knew you said there's one shot, but one shot for a lifetime in changing conditions. Oh, what? Just
well, I stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
I kind of knew where it was, ish.
Yeah.
But I'd never go up there because I'm not really into the slate unless it's climbing, rock climbing on the slate. I enjoy, but I don't really like photographing there. But I had nothing to do one day, so I drove up there.
Yeah.
Went through a hole in the fence.
Yeah.
And just stumbled upon it. It's about 100 metres from the road.
Bloody hell, yeah.
And I thought, this looks brilliant. But I realised I'm probably about half an hour too late.
Yeah.
Because the sun's come down now and I'm going to get nothing on these
Nothing on that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, come back tomorrow, an hour earlier. And that's what I did. And
and you got the light.
Yeah, it was lovely. Really lovely.
I'm going to go back to the questions because I think, you know.
Yeah, we're just waffling here,
we keep rocking it. Why not? I was going to say, and this is a really simple question about in your climbing. I know you've not done a lot for a little while, and I know you mentioned about you might not do what you have done, but for me, you have done, and some of the mountains you have climbed are just, I don't know how. What was the hardest, or what did you feel was the hardest, but you got the most out of that you've been up, what you've been to and thought does something it almost ruined you. Because I don't think there's many, but there must be one that was such a challenge and a conquer.
Well, obviously climbing mountains takes a lot of physicality.
Yes.
You know, you don't get a fucking lift to the top. You've got to climb the things.
Yes.
Walking up a mountain's hard work, but easy, technically. If you go onto some maybe lower level crags, like in the Peak District, Stanage, Burbage, any of the eastern grit edges, the Roaches in Staffordshire, anything like that, you can do shorter climbs, but they're more technical, they're less committing. But apart from the physicality, the main thing with any kind of climbing is your mentality, and that's where the battle lies.
Yes.
Because physically, I mean, take Crib Gorch, for instance. It's the width of a dry stone wall, and you've got 1,000-foot drop each side. Now, if it was 2 foot off the floor, you'd run across it. So what's stopping you from doing that with all that exposure?
Yeah.
The thing with mountaineering is, and that is whether you're walking up Cat Bells, right the way up to a winter ascent of K2, which the Sherpas today have just accomplished, which is quite incredible, the first ever winter ascent of K2. Whatever level you're doing it in, you're choosing your own level of adventure.
Yeah.
and it's your adventure, and it's no less valid than the guy who's doing harder stuff than you. But it's about mastering yourself.
Yes.
If you're able-bodied and you can walk up things, you might huff and puff, but you get there in the end. The battle's up here.
Yeah.
And it's about mastering your mentality and your emotions and feeling the fear, but doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's about life.
It is. And it gets harder.
It does, but too many people fall by the wayside. They say, I want to be a photographer. I want to be this, I want to be that. But it's too hard. It's not for me. I can't do it. Of course you can, but you've got to decide that you're going to do it.
Yeah, and put the years in. Yeah.
There's no shortcut to anything worthwhile, is there?
No, not at all. Not at all.
But you get all these photographers on YouTube who, they've been around for 2 weeks and now they're offering workshops and stuff.
Yeah, we mentioned that last night.
Yeah, and it's like, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think the pleasure and satisfaction you get out of something is proportionate to, the work you put in.
It is. The way you feel about that. And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is.
Like I've mentioned about mountains, and I went up to High Street, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done in terms of physicality and pushing mentally. But then I say that, but every day it sometimes can be like that, can't it? With things that happen with loved ones that are lost. And as time moves on, it gets tougher and harder, to achieve and keep yourself steady. And I think that's where nature comes in. That's why I asked you that question, really, because I think to put it in one place, but it isn't, is it? It's everywhere. It's every day. Yeah, so
it's in the cracks in the pavement, Mali. Even if you live in a city, it's in the cracks in the pavement.
Yeah.
That will to live.
Yes.
That will to see out that biological sequence in you, which must grow. Unless it's snuffed out.
Yes, exactly.
It will find a way.
Yeah. It's a big, long road for me. And I think I mentioned it. I've not put it out yet, but I've done an intro to this podcast. And I say about I'm here for the long road, the long term, because I don't see why I'm not taking pictures in my 70s if I'm lucky and blessed enough to still be around by then and able-bodied. That's the thing as a youth, you forget, don't you?
Yeah.
Everything's just, if I think I could go back and talk to myself when I was 16, 17. Say,
we heard it when we were back then. We heard these crusty old bastards saying it then, and like, what do they know?
My granddad blackberry picking, telling me then. I remember him clearly, Tim, going perch fishing, and he'd say things to me, and I'd be like, I didn't quite understand it until not long ago, So that's why I see it as a second innings, kind of, at this age, because there's a realization, isn't there?
Yeah, it's finite.
Yeah. Yes. I'm
that,
lost.
In a way, Mali,
that
makes it even more beautiful to know that it's not lasting forever.
It does.
It's almost like autumn, which is the most heartbreakingly beautiful of seasons, because one gust of wind and it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
But it's so beautiful in its transience.
Yeah.
It's to be enjoyed. It's not to be taken for granted. It's to live in the moment. Because tomorrow a southwesterly is going to come along and strip them trees.
That's why you're here.
That's why you're here.
That's why I asked you on, because I've whether it's hard faced or not, I haven't really put myself out there like others have. I've kind of kept going and learning and developing and getting the skills needed or whatever, and meeting folk along the way. And asking you was a big deal. It's a big thing to speak to I know you laugh and I know you think, but that's how I am.
I don't know what you think I am, really.
Well,
I'm just a tit.
Aren't we all? But there's different plumage. There's certain amounts of cleavage involved in. Where are we going here? I don't know. I'm going
to get back to the questions.
Here's a good one for you, and you'll probably because I've wrote a few names here. Greg Whitten, Neil. I've mentioned a few other chaps in the past, but what other photographers, not mountaineers, this is photography. What other photographers have you been engaged with to the point where you think, I'm having that. I've learned something. Not about, I'm not saying inspired, but where they've given you something, like almost like passing you a scroll that you've gone, oh yeah, I see. Yeah, I'll use some of that. What photographer's done that to you?
None of them.
I've wrote down here, no one.
Let me just state, I'm a kind of middling photographer.
Yes,
I'm
you've said
good,
this.
but I'm not amazing.
No.
But then I don't know what an amazing photographer is. Is an amazing photographer a photographer who's better at processing than someone else? But that's a different topic. But no, photographers don't inspire me because they're not very inspiring people. They're just taking pictures. Now, I can appreciate people's work. That's a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
But I don't sit around looking at photographs.
Yeah.
I've been taking photographs seriously now for 10 years.
Yes.
But I don't really want to be looking at photographs. It's just not something that I want to spend my time doing.
What would you spend your time doing then? What is?
Oh, sorry.
All we got then was painting. So I'm gonna take that as you do a lot of painting with white paint.
Yeah, watercolors mainly. No, I like reading books.
Yeah.
About mountaineering.
Yeah.
I've got some bad habits, like I look at YouTube far too much and I look at Facebook far too much. Recently, I've rediscovered music after many years away from it. I'm finding that very rewarding. But what I like to do is just go walking.
Yeah.
With frequent stops to just sit there
and look
and not do anything.
Yeah.
And I might have a kip.
Yeah.
If it's a nice day and I'm feeling a bit lazy, I might have a kip for half an hour. And I wake up and I'm in the mountains. And
I'm so far away from that, but want to be like that. I'm so far away. Everything's so fast, you know. Yeah. And what you're saying there is just...
Here it's very slow, Mali, because my nearest shop is 5 miles away.
Yeah.
And I've had all kinds of... I've had to take my car off the road because I'm skint, because I can't work as a mountain leader at the moment.
Yeah.
So I've had to get on the bus a lot.
Yeah.
When it turns up. And I've had to walk to the shop. You know, you're walking 8 miles a day just to get your wine.
Lovely.
So you...
Lovely.
But the other day, I discovered a bike. My neighbour lent me a bike, so
right,
last 2 days I've been cycling. I think I might get hold of a mountain bike from someone, and then go cycling round the trails in the forest. But really, what I like to do, it's be in nature.
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
There's some cows in the field down there. Just go and watch them.
Yeah, cows are awesome. They really are. Yeah, just watching a cow's mouth with tongue.
Well, the tongues are great.
Amazing creatures, just wonderful creatures. I know we eat them, and they do taste very good, but they're quite special. I've been amongst cows many times. We used to go a place, you'll know this place actually, South Wales, Lydney, Forest of Dean.
Yeah.
And I was on my own because my brother and sister had left home, so they didn't come on holiday with us. And I'd wander off into these fields in the Forest of Dean, backdropping it, and it'd just be full of these cows, and I'd just sit there with them. You know, there's no way they'd trample. You know, they're so chilled. Never, ever had a problem with a cow. Love them. And the amount of times I've thought, you know what, I'd love for it be just to have a place here in woods. And I mentioned it to someone about Grizzly Adams. I bet you watched a lot of Grizzly Adams.
You're not going to believe this.
Go on.
I go through YouTube phases.
Yes.
Where I'll get into something and I'll watch it every night.
Yes.
The past 2 weeks I've been watching Grizzly Adams.
Oh, just can't beat it. Can't beat it.
I love it. Every episode is the same.
John Denver. Growing up with John Denver and Grizzly Adams.
Yeah. Sunshine on my shoulder.
Oh, just wonderful. And then people...
Oh, yeah. that's the life, Mali. That's where it is.
It is. Making friends with birds. And living there with raccoon coming over and say, all right, you know, have a chat at raccoon and just a bit of fat out for birds. Yeah.
And you've got Mad Jack, his mate.
Yeah.
And the donkey, number 7. Terrific. I've been watching it every night, 2 or 3 episodes.
Do you know
and
what?
I've been waking up at 5 in the morning with it blasting out on autoplay. Fucking hell.
There's a bear in my bedroom. What
Yeah.
do you know?
It's called Mali.
Oh, fantastic! I need to get that on for kids. You know, I've been programming them with all kinds and Pitkins. Do you remember Pitkins?
I do. Hartley Hare.
Hartley Hare, and just classics. And I think if you're gonna watch anything, because they're into all this slime and stuff. And then I had a big talk the other day, and I was saying, do you know, the silicon, it's plastic. That slime, it's not good. You know, what about some eggs and flour, and we get some glycerin. And you could make, and then all of a sudden I just thought, oh, I'm onto something here. Organic slime factory. I said, you know what? If you wash your hands and you make it, we could throw it in pan after and cook it. And you'd probably be able to eat it. Slime biscuits.
Well, that's parenting done right, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Homeschooling of the highest order, that.
Oh, I've not a clue what I'm doing. It's just like everything, isn't it? You know, we've not just bumbling along. Grizzly Adams knew. He did. He taught me a lot. That's mad. That's mad. You've been watching Grizzly Adams.
Yeah.
See, that's what you should have been told me. What you're getting up to on a night. I'm reading books. I'm watching Grizzly Adams. That's what we want.
Well, I've been through them all. I was really into Tales of the Unexpected for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Watched all of them. Hammer House of Horror.
Yes.
I was really into.
Yes.
I just like things that remind me of my childhood.
And are genuine.
They take me back to a time that was so much more simple. And it wasn't a matter of, because I was a kid. It was simple for the adults back then as well. I don't think people that are not in our generation, because I think we're the last generation to have any kind of sensible upbringing. You can't understand what it's like if you've never known a world without mobile phones, or computers, or the internet.
It is crazy,
and it makes
isn't
you
it?
wonder what's going to happen to people's mentalities, and your kids, they're going to be running the world in 30, 40 years.
Well, I'd sooner be
I'll
out
be long gone by then.
Well, me too. There's a chance, we might be there to see it, but I keep saying aliens are coming, and people look at me and go, no. And I'm like, listen, after what we've had these past couple of years, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of thinking now that we probably know they're about.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for them to admit it now.
And pop up and say hello, or remove us all for the good of nature. I'd be happy with that.
Well, as long as they probe me first, I don't
mind. Do you know, I knew. Well, probing coming in when I mentioned aliens, taking you on the spaceship for an hour. It won't be long enough. That won't be long enough. Let's have a look here while you fill up your glass. What else have we got? What else?
Come on, make it good.
Oh, God. Oh, they're not that good. That's it, you see. I'm learning like you.
Talk about photography if you want.
Well, do you know, there's not much I can say because you've nailed it. It's you've got to be out there and experiencing it. So talking about photography, you normally allude to gear, and you're a Canon shooter, so we can't go there. Actually, have you thought about an upgrade? I know at the moment we're struggling, everyone is struggling, but if you could, would you consider mirrorless? I've gone mirrorless.
Yeah, if I could afford a new camera, I shoot a Canon 6D.
Yeah,
it's a bloody old camera now.
Bloody good camera.
It does the business. I'm really pleased with the images I get from it. But if I could afford a new camera, I'd get an A7R2.
Right.
Without any shadow of a doubt.
Oh, straight
to me, it's the perfect mountain camera. My mate Dave, who I go out walking with, and he's allowed out of Liverpool, he's got one, and it's just brilliant.
Yeah,
it's the kind of camera you want for a handheld mountain type photographer.
Light, high megapixel. Yes.
High megapixel.
Yeah.
Great dynamic range.
See, I've had this discussion and people have shunned me for the megapixel thing, but I got this Z7 and I got it luckily cheap because they brought the new one out, and I'd spent time. This has been a long time saving and coming, you know, and everyone's like, why have you gone for the 45.7 megapixel? I know why. As soon as I put it in Lightroom, oh, what a pleasure. But it suffers no fools. I can't get away with what I used to get away with, doing me Jimi Hendrix with camera, you know. And now I do have to really think about what my settings, and because I have had a few soft come back and look at them and think, oh, Mali, you've slipped up. But good to hear that. Good to hear that you're gonna go. If you know the Sony A7 II, did you say? Yeah, it's
the A7
beautiful.
I don't need the latest one.
No, you
that
don't.
That one would be fine. But when you're talking about the megapixels and people maybe sniffing about it, yeah, if you're not printing, you don't need loads of megapixels.
Yes.
But also, I've only ever used one lens.
Yes.
I use a 24-70. Yes. I haven't got a bag full of lenses up to like 300 mil.
Yeah, yeah.
So with the 6D, which is about 21 megapixels, sometimes when I'm at 70 millimeters, I haven't got the reach.
Yeah.
And I would just like to be able to crop a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then I can still print at really good res, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, you're not getting the compression of a very long lens, but that's not what I'm after. I just want to get more out of what I've already got.
Well, yeah, this might get you switching teams. The Stuart McLennan, lovely chap. We've been having a bit of banter because I got the 24-70. Now I've abused my wide angles, and rightly so. I've had fun doing it, getting it wrong along the way. I've mostly getting it wrong, and he's got the 24-200.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Done it. And I was like looking at him and going, I felt like swearing at him because I got the 24-70 Z mount, and he's telling me how it's the equivalent, as good as a 70-200 f4. And I love that lens.
It's sharp all the way through the range.
Yeah, yes. And it's...
that sounds perfect. The holy grail.
Oh, well, if you're out walking and you don't want to be faffing about, 24-200, game over. Game over. That I am close to thinking about, do I ditch me 2 lenses here, which I love, and getting that, because I think I've learned a few lessons with weight and being an idiot carrying. Don't need it, do you? You know.
I've never needed it.
No.
Sometimes I'd like it, but it's like the conditions you're presented with. Yeah. If you go out with an ideal, you're going to be disappointed. Yeah. But accept what you've got. That's the lens I've got. Here's the conditions I've got. What am I going to do with them?
Yes. I'm a big believer of that. I think that's the way it has to be. You go somewhere, and what you've got in front of you is what you start creating. You know, that's the best way to be, I feel.
It's all very well visualizing images.
Yeah.
And these ideals.
Yeah.
But you're going to miss out.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get to your location, you're going to think, well, this photograph I've been planning isn't going to happen, so I won't bother.
Yeah.
But turn around, look around you. There's other things that might interest you if you wasn't so set in your ways, you know.
So who have you learned off? What books have you read? Who have you looked at in photography? You know, along the road, you must have picked up. I know the rules is basically it's something that you can read and learn from anyone. But we mentioned Charlie Waite last night, and I just love the guy. I think he's outlook in his way, and he's said a lot of things we've said here about.
He's a fantastic communicator, isn't he?
Yes, he is, and an exponent for photography that I think the youth could do with, you know, listening to without over technique. Although he is very technical. But yourself, along the way, I've picked up bits here, bits there. And I went to college and I did photography and graphic design. I went down graphic design because it was the only way I could make money. But photography was always there. And it was always the people, the older generation, you know, the teachers I was with, that I learned a lot in photography. What about yourself? You know, along the way in the mountains, you didn't just go natural. I know you are a natural. You know, you you pick it up as you go. You've got that temperament, haven't you? But who pushes you? Who makes you think, who's took you along on that journey of learning?
Well, I did teach myself, and the first half decent camera I got was a Canon G12.
Right.
Which is like, it was 10 years ago I got it.
Yeah.
And that was the start of me really thinking of myself as wanting to do photography seriously. And I always used it in manual mode.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to be able to
fiddle.
Yeah. And I learned a lot of that. And a couple of years later, I got a DSLR. And to me, the technicalities of learning about getting a sharp photograph, it's dead easy. You do it by being out there.
Testing.
Experimenting.
Yes.
And it's not like in the old days of film where you had to write down your settings to remember what you've done. The EXIF data's there, so you're like, why isn't that working?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. The aperture was too small,
Yeah.
and my shutter speed was too high. How am I going to combat that? How can I compromise? Because you hear a lot of people in these magazines years ago, they used to say, shoot at f16 or f22. And I'm like, you what?
Yeah.
I remember discovering f8.
Yeah. I
don't even have to stand so still anymore.
No.
At f8.
No. Yeah.
But really, I think the main things where you have to really start looking at other people to learn is in processing.
Yes.
And that's not something I really did because I use Lightroom and that's pretty intuitive.
It is.
And I'm not into star trails, I'm not into composite images or any of this luminosity masking. None of that is what I do. So really, it's just, I've been at it 10 years, which isn't a long time comparatively, but I've been on a journey, I've been there, and I might not be so prolific as a photographer anymore, but I can turn up with a camera and do the job, if you know what I mean, because I know what I'm doing, and that's just because I've pressed that button so many times.
You've applied yourself, exactly. You've applied and learned and carried on, yeah, exactly. I tend to avoid looking at other photographers. I have mentioned Charlie and a few other people, and people said to me, "Oh, you don't look at." It frightens me a bit because I don't want to be like them. I want to be like me, and style as well. I don't have a particular style, and I quite like that. I quite like that I don't have to be restricted to all my photos have to contain 20% blue.
Or they're all in a particular aspect ratio.
And you don't do that. Having said that, the book, they're very much your images, but they're not a style. Still, it's quite unique to see each picture.
Well, the way I see it is, I'm not the star. I don't want to impose myself on the landscape.
Yeah.
I just want to show that landscape to other people and do it justice. Yeah. I'm not trying to be a stylist.
Yeah.
It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about a landscape which will still look the same when I'm dead.
Yeah. I think that's...
And looks the same as what it did 50 years ago when I discovered the Wales by Poucher book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny because I look at the Poucher, W.A. Poucher, the preeminent photographer of the 50s, 60s, and the 40s as well, actually. Looking at it now, and there's people like Frank Smythe, the Abraham brothers, all these awful photographs, a lot of them. But to me, they're so much more evocative of the landscape than these incredibly accomplished creations that you see today.
Yes.
Which to me feel very sterile. I can't smell the land, I can't smell the peat. It's almost as if they're electronic.
Pixels.
Yes, they don't have that organic thing to them. And we're taking photographs of something that is organic. I mean...
Jeez, yes.
If you're trying to convey that to someone, and like I said to you, Mali, I'm not interested what other photographers think about my work. Yeah. It's not for them.
Yeah.
It's for people that don't live in places like this.
Yeah.
And it's to say to them, look, all is not lost. The world is burning.
Yeah.
But it's still here, and there's still these incredible places which will make you feel wonderful.
Yes.
This is what they look like. Come and get some. I'll take you out for a walk.
I have a feeling this podcast and many more to come are going to change the way I think, because you've just said something in all of that that's very significant to me. Why am I taking pictures? Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer, but I think it's important to be honest with yourself.
I need to ask that question again and again and again all the time. Yeah. Yeah. I've been lost in editing quite a bit lately. So
well,
that's
you're rather prolific, aren't you? In terms of digital media.
Yeah, I do like it. I do really enjoy editing, and I do coming from a graphic design background. But I did like painting a lot, you know. But we'll leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. I think this one's going to have to be marked down as explicit, and I think we've been quite mild as well. But I'm going to call it here, Nick, because I think it's quite profound what you've just finished on, and it will leave me with a lot of thought. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me.
I'm getting notes of pretentious bullshit. No, thanks, Mal. Thank you very much for having me.
No, the thanks is all me. And I hope we do it again.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we can, but I can't wait for you to come up here.
I can't wait myself. I was actually quite distressed when I didn't come last time.
I was looking forward to it.
It upset me because I could have come, but it felt wrong. I can't explain that to you, the time. It just didn't feel right at that time.
You did the right thing, I think.
Well, look what happened. Not long after that. And I didn't go anywhere, and I've not been anywhere. I've been going out at pitch black, walking around Carmill Down with my camera like a nut job. I don't know why I'm thinking this is a good idea to take pictures of trees in the dark, but do you know what? I think I might have stumbled on something. It's quite unique, but that's another story. I'll show you them one day. But thank you very much. And,
thank you, Mal.
What's still left to say? But
Sithee.
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 Sithee.